We return to Korra and her lessons in metal bending, and Bolin and his non-existent metal bending.
Nope. Okay, maybe trial by fire. It's the best way to learn metal bending.
Exactly, like the best way to learn how to escape a straitjacket is being tossed in a pool while wearing one. Bolin hits him in the forehead with a pebble to get him to stop being a dick, while Korra is kicking ass, naturally. All in all, in between being shown to be useless at metal bending and knowing that Opal is leaving, Bolin's having a crappy day. Well, Opal tries to perk him up by reminding him that they'll see each other when he comes to deliver more airbenders to the Northern Air Temple.
Yeah, but that's in the future. Oh, I hate the future.
They say the past is a different country, but the future is like going to Japan and trying to figure out how to use their space toilets.
Kid, can I give you some relationship advice?
Love Bolin is like a hat. The people with all the reasons you shouldn't wear it are the people who don't have hats of their own. Not everyone is having a good time.
I can't hear anything. I hate sitting down here. Not because of you.
I can tell you're lying.
I'm betting it's one he hears a lot. Well, after a toast, Opal is off, and it's time to close up the city. Little do they know that Reverse Team Avatar have arrived inside and are slipping about under cover of night, and being inside a metal dome. They cut through the glass, toss some trank darts, and that's all she wrote for Korra and her furry friend. Luckily, Pabu sees them and alerts Bolin, who raises an alarm. But these are not your typical Republic City goons. You're basically dealing with an adventuring party who have taken all the prestige classes, or the ones with absurd stat requirements. I mean, just look at that. These are mooks who probably have more backstory than I do. Everyone comes running, even Beifong and Sue and her boys, but there's also a lava bender in there, remember. Lava bending isn't just a rather unique power. It's the kind of thing that's hard to even know how to fight. This is another case where my editing notes just says everything that needs saying. Bridge gets fucked. What more do I add to express what they're up against? Sue says the only way to get in there is to come down from above, but if they do that, they're going to get blasted. So someone's got to distract that lady long enough to disrupt her ability to focus and fire, or they're going to be like Skeet up there. Well, that job's for Bolin. He doesn't have the metal bending of the others, but he has all that experience as a pro bender. He knows how to play this like a sport. Except, so do Reverse Team Avatar, as they spot what's happening and start blocking the shots at their combustion bender. Bolin barely manages to squeak a small stone through their defenses and stun her so that Sue and Beifong can rescue Korra.
We failed!
You know, he might be the villain here, but you have to respect that he takes this defeat right alongside the team. A lot of villain managers could learn something from him. They escape, but Beifong is not happy that Korra was nearly kidnapped from the supposedly secure city.
It is. I don't know how this happened. Obviously, this was a well-planned operation, so don't blame me.
As I said previously, the best way to view Sue's actions is through the prism of her benevolent narcissism. And what is a textbook example of narcissism? Avoiding accountability. Sue has doubly failed here. First, she claims the role of matriarch of Zaofu. That means any security failure is ultimately her failure. Second, she provided assurances that Korra would be safe here, and Korra wasn't safe here. And to be clear, I'm not coming in here saying we should blame her for everything. It's the fact that she refuses to be blamed for anything that stands out here. Her response is not an honest, I admit I underestimated just how powerful Korra's enemies are. And she doesn't respond either with, we're going to get to the bottom of how this disaster happened. No, her first instinctive reaction is, don't blame me, prioritizing self-image over solving problems or of accountability. Now, we're not going to stop and do this every time she opens her mouth, but just remember, this is bigger than her spat with Beifong. This informs the whole of her character. Pass her actions through the lens of benevolent narcissism, and the fuzzy comes into focus. Oh, and also just to repeat, fucking sublime writing here.
The guards. It had to be one of them.
I agree.
Question them all!
Get the truth out of them, truth seer. I don't keep you around for your good looks. I'm very aware of that, ma'am, yes. So yes, they question all. Absolutely all.
What was I doing last night? Same thing I always do.
R&D time. You've heard of ultraviolet? Old news. Make way for supraviolet. Light up your party, keep the bugs away, and for some reason I haven't worked out, keeps the hors d'oeuvres from getting cold. Sue herself even gets questioned and naturally wasn't involved, but the next guard who comes in, apparently he's the one. Sue is pissed and tosses him against the wall while yelling at him, but it's suggested the best move is searching his quarters. And sure enough, it turns up a logbook and notes about the break-in, and a message declaring, "I am very guilty, man." Mako finds this all suspicious. How did a young guard, born and raised here, get mixed up with people who've been in prison since he was a small child? Varrick pops in to say, "Hey everybody, I'm awesome." And he has been awesome this episode. Oh, where do we even begin? There's the airbender detector, which if someone airbends into the device, it'll go off. And then there was his list of bedtime activities, which includes, among other things, 30 minutes of breath holding. I can't decide if it's to use the oxygen deprivation to promote radical ideas, or if he's steadily trying to go longer and longer so he just no longer needs to breathe. He's here to get the remains of the lava in order to use as pumice stones, but he also has some advice on this conspiracy. And he does think it's a conspiracy. If he wanted to cover his tracks, what he'd do is pick a patsy and then plant evidence there to make him look like the guilty party.
Oh, you mean exactly like what you did to me?
Yes, just like that. Remember how great that worked?
I realize I'm a massive hypocrite for going off on Sue's personality failings, while the more Varrick embraces unapologetically his past crimes, just makes me love him even more. So they go to check Aiwei's place, as he's the only one who could keep a secret. There's a hidden staircase behind a bookcase, but there's no time to investigate, as Aiwei comes back. And he can't bluff a truth seer, much as Bolin tries. There's a good effort to carry out questioning without actually saying anything false. But Aiwei deduces they know, blocks up half the room, and escapes into his hidden basement lair. I'd be leery it's actually his sex dungeon, so it's rather fortunate that there's just a bomb in there. Well, I mean, it could be both, but the fact they're not pelted with bits of feathers and rubber purple dildos says it probably isn't. Sue and Beifong arrive, but he's collapsed the tunnel, and when they check, they find tracks from a jeep that shows he had something set up in case he needed to make a quick getaway. Korra wants to pursue, hoping it'll lead to Zahir, take the fight to them, you know. Beifong says that's a terrible idea, and Sue backs her up completely.
There's a jeep packed with supplies by the east gate. It's all gassed up and ready to go.
After all, as Sir Humphrey noted, it is first necessary to get behind someone to stab them in the back. She lied to Beifong because she wanted her to shut up and let Korra hunt down Aiwei. I'm sure that won't end badly. Well, we'll find out more when we look at our next episode of Legend of Korra.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
From 9 to 10, I checked my body for ticks. Lyme disease is a serious killer.